Northwest Liberty News, picking the lock on the shackles of tyranny.
Machines are gonna fail, and the system's gonna fail.
The past is past, the future's now.
Don't look at me. I think these people are completely nuts.
Sometimes trouble just follows a man.
There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus.
Can't you stop your lips from flapping for 2 little minutes?
It's because I'm white.
I'm a man. I'm sensitive. I need to feel loved. I need to be desired.
I'm rapping this is becoming a big underground success in this town.
It's a question of methods. Everybody wants results, but nobody wants to do what they have to do to get them done.
And now, coming to you live from Kalispell, Montana, brought to you by Northwest Liberty News, it's Montana Gazette Radio with your host, James White. Chris, I'm your host, James White. This is Montana Gazette Radio. Thanks for joining us here. Leading up to the show, I'm trying to figure out the Facebook thing. They apparently are not allowing me to broadcast this show through Facebook any longer. I've put a link there from Facebook or from YouTube to the Facebook page on the Facebook page, but it's not allowing me. It doesn't appear that it's allowing me to broadcast on Facebook, on any of my Facebook channels. And there are three channels that I'm broadcast on with Facebook, and it doesn't appear that any of them are active. So we got that going for us here on the show. Thanks for joining us here this 14th day of January 2021. I'm your host, James White. This is Montana Gazette Radio, and we do appreciate you joining us here. Right away, I'd like to say if you could just like the video and try to share it around. I put a link on Facebook. As I stated, I put a link on Facebook to connect right to this show right here. So I hope that if you're out there, you can find it, because they're clamping down. That's one of the things I'm going to cover today. They're clamping down, of course, on everything. And they just want to cancel people completely out of society. They just don't want you to be able to live and function anymore, and they want you dead. They hate you, and they hate me, and they hate us all. And I think it's becoming more and more apparent now that that's the case. So I'm not sure what, again, I apologize if you're trying to tune in here on Facebook. I go back over to Facebook again here, and it doesn't look like it's broadcasting live like it usually does. So I'm not sure what they're doing there. A lot of the last couple of videos I've done over the last week have gotten tremendous amount of views, tens of thousands, 50,000 views, I think, on some combined. So maybe that's kind of bumming them out, and I'm here looking through. It's nowhere. So again, we are on Podbean. If you go to Podbean and look up Northwest Liberty News, we should be there. And we are on multiple other channels, D Live, and a couple different YouTube channels. But we're going to continue to put this out here. We're recording this episode here locally, and we're going to put this out here on our Rumble channel, because we can, as we're seeing, the big tech and the mainstream platforms that that have been part of technology for decades now. It seems a couple decades. Some of them are sort of turning their back on people, and certainly is troubling. But we're in a battle. We're in a war, as stated before, and we have to continue to just charge forward, because that's all we can do. Losing is not an option here. This is not an option. Defeat is not an option. It's just not an option. We can't at all accept that ever. And we just have to continue to charge it forward. As I made the illustration before, everyone's seeing that photo of the frog that's getting eaten by the stork. And he's got, the frog is probably 30% or 40% in the stork's mouth. And the frog's got the stork around the throat, choking him. So that's really how we have to be. That's the only way that we can be to battle this tyranny, and it's marching forward. I mean, they're not slowing down. They're not stopping. They're not intimidated. They're going to continue to take this all the way to the very end. I think it would please them nothing would please them more than to see a flat-out civil war, because that destabilizes the country and leaves us vulnerable for attacks from outside forces, which, pardon me, apparently we're getting reports that China has moved some assets, some marine assets, meaning boats and submarines, closer to our international borders, or our I forget what they're called, but they are apparently on the move. We've heard reports of them, Chinese troops training in Mexico. We've heard reports of them training in Canada. Don't pretend to know the future. Don't pretend to know what's going to happen. I just know that we need to be alert and we need to be on guard, and we have to understand that we're in the war right now. There's no more sitting back. There's no more waiting. Headquarters is not going to call you. We're in it now, and we have to act now. I'm going to bring up a couple of things here and points that I'd like to make. Let me check again. Yeah, none of the Facebook channels are still not broadcasting. So let me try cutting it off. We're on Twitch. Apparently, we're broadcasting on Twitch, it appears. Let me stop this here and restart it. Maybe that'll help bump it into place. At any rate, yeah, it's not connecting through Facebook. Again, I don't know what's going on. They may have blocked my ability to live broadcast on Facebook. They didn't send me a message to let me know that, but it's not like they would. I'll have to check into it after the show and see what's going on. But we're not on any Facebook channels at all currently. So that's troubling. That's troubling. But again, we'll continue to move forward, and I'll record this video and put it up on other platforms so we can continue to get the word out. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to hit some of the news. And I wish it was better news. It's not. Some of it's good. Some of it's not so good. Some of it's bad. And I'm going to play a video clip here, a couple of video clips by Lynn Wood from his Fireside Chats. And you have to understand that, this is a spiritual battle, and this is the battle for everything here that we're in. And we have to have that sort of a mindset, folks. So if you're on Parler, here is this is from 11 hours ago. The Parler CEO says social media app favored by Trump supporters may not return. Now, of course, when it first happened, we heard that it would be back the next day. Let me get my phone here. We heard that it would be back the next day. We heard that it would be back in a couple of days. We heard, a few days, maybe down a few days, maybe back up already, I think, in some reports. Now the CEO says that it could never be back. We don't know when it will return. Well, I can just read a little bit of it here. So I can make it a bit larger for you, so if you can read it as well, if you're looking in from home. Social media platform Parler, which has gone dark after being cut off by major service providers that accuse the app of failing to police violent content, may never get back online, says CEO John Matsey. As a procession of business vendors severed ties with the 2-year-old site following the storming of the U.S. Capitol last week, Massey said in an interview with Reuters on Wednesday that he does not know when or if it will return. It could be never, he said. We don't know yet. Now, what's just been reported here in the last 24 hours is what they're finding out is Facebook, as a matter of fact, was way more involved in setting all this stuff up than Parler was. But Facebook continues to operate and doesn't get deplatformed and doesn't get removed from apps. That doesn't happen. And I mean the criminality that these people openly really perpetrate on the folks is something like I've never seen. Now Jack Dorsey comes out and says he thinks he's doubled down and says that he's thinks it was a great thing to ban Trump. Now, mind you, I read earlier a report earlier, and I don't know, I haven't seen his numbers and investigated it fully, reports are, let's put it that way, that the market share for these tech companies has dropped about $50 billion since they banned President Trump en masse all across everywhere. They canceled them. I reported on some of that yesterday. Well, the canceling and the Trump derangement syndrome, sadly, is seemingly just beginning because it, pardon me, in Maryland, here, this is from Natural News, Maryland Tavern under investigation for hosting a USA-themed party that upset liberals. They are under investigation for hosting a USA-themed party. This was someone named Robin Flicker, a candidate running for Maryland governor as Republican, hosted an event the other day called USA Theme Party that featured live music and a invigorating speech and plenty of patriotism. It so upset liberals, though, that they goaded the Montgomery County inspector to get involved, who is now investigating the venue for alleged criminal activity. And what was their criminal activity? You can probably guess. They were cohorting together without masks on and violating an unconstitutional act that is, as I said, I mean, I don't know how much more unconstitutional act. I don't know how much more I can define it. And that's why they're under investigation. That's why they're going to be under a criminal investigation. And they're going to determine their findings next week. They're going to determine what happened. So this continues to march on. Again, the enemy continues to march forward with this stuff, whether we like it or not. Whether they're in their last days, they can see that their power is waning. So they impeach President Trump again in a couple of days. Was it? I mean, no real. I mean, this is a mockery of everything, folks. This is, and have you heard the phrase before? But it really does seem like it's a movie. I mean, it's almost like it's unreal. It's unreal that adults can act this way towards someone that apparently is going to be leaving soon. 7 days, what is it now? 6 days? It's going to be gone. Something doesn't add up, folks. Something doesn't add up. There's no doubt about that. So the cancel culture continues. If you read this story here from Big League Politics, National Hockey League declares war on Trump supporters. Former Trump campaign staffer reveals a chilling account of political persecution. So he worked for a company that did contract stuff with the NHL. Private jet services. The NHL itself allegedly made the demand that private jet services fire Buchanan solely on the basis of his experience working for Donald Trump's campaign. So basically, the information came out that the guy here, Buchanan's his name, Dawson Buchanan, used to work with the Trump campaign. Apparently, the officials in the NHL found out, and they said that the person has to fire the guy if they want to continue to get a contract with the NHL, which is a very lucrative contract for this person and this jet services company. So he fired the guy. Fired the guy that was a Trump guy, and apparently he didn't want to. But he didn't want to lose all the big dough. That's the situation that we're in. People just sell out. They just sell out. They just sell out. And a lot of them do. A lot of them sell out. They want theirs, right? They've watched too many episodes of MTV Cribs, and they want theirs. They want to get theirs, what belongs to them. So what do you have? You have people that sell out for cash, for filthy lucre, and that goes on sadly way more than we probably even imagine. So we have bit of a dichotomy here on some things. Well, I'll be showing the directive here of our Governor Greg Gianforte here in Montana. But before we get to that, let's hit this. UK bank threatens to cancel accounts if customers refuse to wear masks. So HSBC said it will reserve the right to cancel the accounts of customers who refuse to wear masks inside its UK branches. The British-based bank, the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation, founded in 1865, said the masks are mandatory in all branches unless visitors have a medical exemption. A spokesman for HSBC told the Mirror on Tuesday that it advises its customers, if you do visit us, please wear a face covering and maintain a safe distance from others. If individuals put themselves or our colleagues at risk without a medical exemption, we reserve the right to withdraw their account. Oh, it's just getting started. If these tyrants take power, it's just getting started. This is, I talked about this 6 weeks ago and have been talking about it fairly regularly since. How long before you can't go to your mailbox and get out your mail unless you flash your COVID ID vaccine identification badge, or you have to have it on your phone, or how long before you can't even drive your car until you take your barcode and you flash your barcode or something on whatever, they already have the thing for breathalyzers. What's to stop them from implementing whatever the heck they want to? I mean, they have millions and tens of millions of people wearing masks. Fell right in line. And then they had their cadre of statists who help support that everywhere. They're not backing down, folks. They're not backing down. Not backing down. That's like I've often said numerous times. You can't just rely on Trump. Right? You can't just rely on Trump. Taking nothing away from the guy. But it has to be you. Not Trump. You have to be the one that stands up. This is a defining moment in our history. No doubt about it. And how you act coming up here during this period of time could well determine the future of your children and your grandchildren and beyond. I mean, if these dark forces somehow manage to take control, and I still don't believe that they're going to, but it's there's no anything else. Anytime you go into a battle, no matter how big your forces are, there's always a chance for defeat. I mean, how many number one teams in basketball have gotten upset? To bring it down to a meaningless sporting event. But how many times have you had championship teams, or they've had a stacked deck or a stacked lineup, lose a game? Yeah, it happens. It happens. It's always a possibility. It's always a possibility as long as there, is a game. That's why you heard the old saying, that's why they play the game. Because you don't know. So, although, I'm hopeful and I believe that there's a military element to this. Are Chinese troops massing off the borders? Are they planning to come across our really porous northern border, Canada? Everybody talks about the southern border, but the Canadian border and of the north up north here, even in Montana. This is not rocket science. This is not a heavily trafficked or a heavily guarded border area. Don't know. I mean, I'm not really, monitoring the movement of potential troops in Canada. My hope is that the military, who's spent a whole lot of money and bought a lot of sophisticated equipment, have that stuff under control. Are members of the military still part of the quote-unquote deep state and establishment? Sure, you bet. You bet. There's a lot of people that make a lot of money, fortunes, by having the establishment continue to be in power and for the status quo to continue. Fortunes and billions of dollars in fortunes. I dare say trillions, depending upon if you're defense contractor over the long haul certainly can benefit from trillions of dollars of government money. If there's, wars and, bombs and bullets and planes and tanks, that continues to keep the skids greased for the military-industrial complex. That makes a lot of people wealthy. Lots of people wealthy. That's a big, powerful, wealthy force to try to stop. So my point being is there's no 100% guarantee on any outcome, like any event. In any event, things can go bad. I'm not in the planning phases or don't know what exactly is going on. I could be getting disinformation. It's possible. A lot of people probably are. I'm not saying I am, but folks, anything's possible. I mean, for crying out loud. This is a war. I mean, information, as I stated yesterday, is a key element of any battle, of any war, is information. And along with that comes disinformation. That's part of the information war, is the disinformation portion of the information war. It's a subset of the information war, is the disinformation portion, the propaganda part. And that's the battle for your mind. That's where the mind war, basically, the mind battle comes in. Okay, I'm not sure if you saw this. Guy seems like such a nice guy. Not sure if you saw this that got broke out by Project Veritas. This guy, Michael Peller, he's a principal counsel at PBS, and I think he's since gotten fired. But he lays out the violent radical agenda and says Americans are effing dumb. Go to the White House and throw Molotovs, he says. Put children into re-education camps. We're going to cover that in a minute. Put children into re-education camps. Watch PBS all day. COVID spiking in red states. Red state voters are seeking dying. There's a couple of quotes from this genius. Michael Beller, PBS principal counsel. We go for all the Republicans voters and Homeland Security will take their children away and put them into re-education camps. So these are quotes from this guy. Let's take them all. Let's take the children and put them in re-education camps. I've heard that somewhere before. This is the language of tyrants. This is the language of dictators. Right? And before you know it, everybody's in a camp. Nobody is, they continue to, you've seen it happen throughout history, folks. There's no ending with these people. Everybody eventually ends up being an enemy. Right? You're seeing history play out right before your very eyes, and you see the stuff that you've read about in your history books. The way that they pull these revolutions off, these color revolutions, and the way they've been able to overthrow CIA, basically, have been able to overthrow countries for decades and decades. You're seeing some of the stuff play out right here. These are some of the stuff that other countries had to deal with before they lost to the establishment, globalists, whatever you want to call them. Thankfully, in this country, we have tens of millions of firearm owners. Is the only thing that really has kept us free is the fact that we own firearms, in my view. All right, let's hit this here, and we're going to talk about, last time we covered here, this guy right here, of course, is talking about, as I said, re-education camps. Pop over here to CDC. This was published back in July. Interim operational considerations for implementing the shielding approach to prevent COVID-19 infections in humanitarian settings. The shielding approach. Now, if you read down here to what the shielding approach is, it means that high-risk individuals would be temporarily relocated to safe or green zones established at the household, neighborhood, camp, sector, or community level, depending on the context and setting. They would have minimal contact with family members and other low-risk residents. The green zone is the green zone is they turn schools, community buildings within a camp sector into basically prisons, where they take people to shield them from the public. So if you think the re-education camp thing is hyperbole, I assure you that it's not. Now, to further illustrate that point, let's discuss the state of New York in Assembly, January 6th. This is an act to amend the public health law in relation to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to the public health. Let's just read a couple of these sections here. Public health law is amended by adding a new section, 2120-A, to read as follows. Removal and detention of cases, contacts, and carriers who are or may be a danger to public health. Other orders. Number 1, the provisions of this section shall be utilized in the event that the governor declares a state of health emergency due to an epidemic of any communicable diseases. Upon determining by clear and convincing evidence that the health of others is or may be endangered by a case, contact, or carrier, or suspected case, contact, or carrier of a contagious disease that, in the opinion of the governor, after consultation with the commissioner, may pose an imminent and significant threat to the public health resulting in severe morbidity or high mortality, the governor or his or her delegee, including but not limited to the commissioner or the heads of local health departments, may order the removal and or detention of such a person or of a group or such persons by issuing a single order, identifying such persons either by name or by a reasonably specific description of the individuals or group being detained. Such persons or groups or persons shall be detained in a medical facility or other appropriate facility or premises designated by the governor or his or her delegee and complying with subdivision 5 of this section. What is that saying basically? Is if they determine that you are a threat or maybe a potential threat, they can come and take you and put you in a medical facility on the governor's orders. It basically turns the governor into a dictator, and it's a gross violation of your rights. But it doesn't matter to these people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These are the people that want to run things. And just think of it. They haven't even, quote unquote, come into power yet, right? Which is supposed to happen on the 20th, right? They haven't even, quote unquote, come into power, and look at what they're doing. This is what they're doing now. And they haven't even, as I said, gained control of things. How do you think that's going to work out? I assure you, probably not good. So we're going to close here with this before I take a quick break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to play some of these couple of these Lynn Wood videos here. Thankfully, we have good news here in Montana. Greg Gianforte yesterday, he is releasing some of the violations, but some of the restrictions. He is backing off on some of them. He is allowing restaurants to stay open past 10 o'clock. They don't have to observe any. They don't have to observe these the limiting of the patrons. They are in the process here of backing down on some of these mask restrictions across the state, and we are delighted, of course, for that here in Montana. I think if you look at South Dakota, they didn't have these same restrictions, and they seem to be operating just fine. So you don't really restrict, you don't mask healthy people, you don't put healthy people in homes and sequester them. Sick people, there's an argument for that, but a healthy person, let's take a healthy person and lock them in their home. And again, I apologize for those that are looking for me on Facebook. It's not letting me broadcast on any Facebook channels. I don't know if that's a glitch today. That's a permanent thing. No idea. I'll have to check into that and see. But I don't know. Again, don't know what's going on. I'll try to look into that here after the show and try to find out why they're not letting us broadcast on Facebook. Again, the views that we've had on the last videos over the last few days have just been off the charts. And I don't know if that troubles them. I don't know if they're, who knows? I don't know what these commies are thinking. So we're going to take a quick break here. We come back on the other side. We're going to play a couple of Lynn Wood audio files. And, some of the stuff that Lynn Wood says here, you either believe Lynn Wood or not. I don't know Lynn Wood. I've never spoken to Lynn Wood. But I can tell you, the stuff that Lynn Wood says and the stuff that he reports, this is the same stuff that I've been talking about, folks, for quite some time. On my other show, I deal with parents that have been victimized by CPS, family courts. Their children have been trafficked, kidnapped, abused. I mean, this is what Lynn Wood says about these things. I find to be correct based upon my independent investigation and conversations that I've had with people. So the language is troubling, and the realization that he is actually telling the truth is troubling. But we're going to play the video anyway, and we'll see what happens as far as them, any punitive action that is taken against me for doing so. But we're going to do it anyway. And I'm going to take a quick commercial break here, and we come back on the other side. We're going to pick the show back up and play those Lynn Wood audio files here just from a recent interview. I think it was yesterday on this Fireside Chats over on Rumble, which I'll have a channel there now. We'll be putting this video over there soon after it's done today. We'll be back after these brief messages. I'm your host, James White. This is Montana Gazette Radio, MontanaDailyGazette.com, or northwestlibertynews.com. We'll be back. If you like classic cars, exceptional service, and a money-back guarantee, then the Corner Shop in beautiful downtown Kalispell is the place for you. Whether it's an oil change, engine diagnostic, suspension work, or brakes all around, the Corner Shop has you covered. With expert technicians and a free consultation on all services, you can't go wrong with the Corner Shop. Did I mention the classic cars? While you're waiting for your expert service to be performed, take a stroll through the showroom to see Kalispell's smoothest collection of classic cars. The Corner Shop is conveniently located at 1212 South Main, just south of the courthouse. The Corner Shop is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m., so drop by for an appointment or call 755-7777. That's 755-7777. The Corner Shop, Kalispell's full-service auto repair facility. Hi, this video is brought to you by PatriotPrepared.com, where right now you can save $250 on each large package purchase, plus get free shipping to the continental United States. In these troubled times, it's not a bad idea to have some extra food storage available, and you can save big at Patriot Prepared right now. Go to PatriotPrepared.com, that's PatriotPrepared.com, and use the code TRUMP250 at checkout to receive your savings today. Okay, thanks for hanging around after the break, folks. Let me get back on the right screen here. I'm your host, James White. This is Montana Gazette Radio. And still just trying to look into this issue, this broadcasting issue on Facebook during the break. I just don't know. I'll have to look into it further. It's hard to, in a minute and a half, to figure out what's going on. I do know that it's not being broadcast, though, for sure, live on Facebook, and I'll have to see if I got any messages or anything to stop from Facebook that let me know that, and I don't remember seeing any. But here's the thing, folks. I mean, they're cracking down on they don't want us communicating. They don't want us communicating. Now I'm here. They're trying to take down Gab, from what I'm understanding. You see, it should be very apparent. It's not the truth is so damaging to them. It's so damaging to them. Now, what they don't understand is they can cut all software off, all social media off. People will start going back to modems if they have to. I've got modems still. I have two modem. Remember the old modems? I have 2 phone modems still that I have just in case something ever happens. We can always get back up on modem. I'm that old. I used to use modems a long time ago. So, I mean, and if not, there's mesh networks that have been set up. Also, people will just write letters. They'll send out newsletters. They'll send out email. They have to shut out, go to Northwest Liberty News and sign up for the email list there. Go to Montana Daily Gazette, sign up for the email list. Whatever they do, we're going to still continue to try to get out information by whatever way is possible. So, you understand, I mean, no army can stop an idea whose time has come. The time for truth and exposure of the criminals that have been running things, the time has come. The time has come. Do you really think you've seen the mass amounts of people that show up for Trump rallies, the mass amount of people that showed up there twice in D.C.? Do you really think these people are going to completely give up and quit and go, yeah, we're going to be okay living under a stolen election and communism? We're good with that. Yeah, no, that's good with us. Don't worry about it. No, because you know why? Because they're not going to let you. They're going to cancel you. They're going to say, oh, you were a Trump supporter? Oh, you can't bank here. Your children can't go to school here. You can't golf at this golf course. How long before, when you have to go make reservations at a restaurant, they scan your social media profile and go, yeah, your views don't reflect the views of our restaurant, and we're going to deny you a reservation at this restaurant. That's coming. That's coming. That they want to destroy anybody who supports Trump, anybody that's a conservative. And really, it's not against Trump, and it's not against conservatives. It's always been a spiritual battle. They hate what good stands for. They hate God. They hate goodness. They hate, life. It's a spiritual battle, folks. It always has been. It always has been. These people that you see are just actors, in a sense, in the grand scheme of things. Right? There's the principles and powers that are hidden. And this is real. This is real. Okay, I'm going to play a couple of clips of Lynn Wood. And again, it is what it is. It's not pleasant. It's not, it's truth as far as I can tell. As far as my experience tells me, this is truth. It's uncomfortable truth, but it's truth nonetheless. So I'm going to pop this Lynn Wood video in here, and we're going to listen to it. And if this type of stuff bothers you, you might want to turn away from the I think it's 3 or 4 minutes here. But it's not graphic. It's not nearly as graphic as some of the stuff I've unfortunately information I've been privileged to, but it's graphic enough. Here we go.
Germany. And now we're talking about how the Italians were involved in the Italians were involved in the election fraud as well. Lynn, can you comment on the Italian involvement in the U.S. elections? Because I'm going to provide irrefutable proof to anybody who texts the word truth to 918-552-5142, 918-552-5142. I'm going to text a link so everyone can see this themselves. But what can you comment on the Italian interference in the U.S. 2020 elections?
I don't have the details. I suspect that you do.
Okay. I'll just
so
text it to
Let me make
me.
my comment. Let me make the comment that I'm comfortable and confident is accurate.
Sure.
Italy was involved in interfering with our election. You know, we've got friends allegedly in NATO. Trump has been calling NATO out over the last 4 years, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So some of the people that should be our friends are not necessarily our friends. If you look around at what's happening, people call it the Great Awakening, the Great Reveal. You're learning who is loyal to America and who is not. I think you find that the list of people that voted for Biden in the Congress are traitors. I think you'll find that the people that voted for Trump with respect to the Electoral College are patriots. A lot of the people that voted against him are going to go to jail. Not because Trump is angry with them, not because they tried to steal the election from Trump. It's because they committed treason against the United States of America. They're all a bunch of Benedict Arnolds. They did it for their own interest or the interest of China, or they were blackmailed. Don't forget what we talked about when I said that there was a system of blackmail that's utilized by all 10 of the intelligence agencies in the world, where they get people in compromising positions. They have sex with young children, and they videotape them. And sometimes they videotape them killing the child. That then becomes evidence, blackmail evidence, where they own that person. They own that person's vote. They own that person's actions. There's a level of evil in this country, a lot of which centers on pedophilia and child sex trafficking, that's going to shock this country. It's going to be so extensive that people are not going to want to believe it.
Yeah.
But wait until the evidence comes out. I have seen the evidence in large part. I have listened to the credible whistleblowers. I know what the truth is.
Yeah.
The American public needs to learn what the truth is, because we've got to get those people as far away from government as we can.
Amen.
We got to put those people in jail or worse.
Now let's for anybody who's not aware of this, again, I'm going to text everybody. I'll text you a video of Vice President Pence receiving a strange coin after certifying the fraudulent election.
Some troubling words there by Lynn Wood, as far as what goes on with these demons, these demonic spirits that have seemed to occupy the bodies of these people. What else to think? But this is the type of the stuff that goes on: the trafficking of children, and much worse. Some of the same things that he mentioned. Sadly, I have found that goes on fairly regularly. This is it's a disturbing and troubling conversation to have. But sadly, it's one that we're going to have here coming up pretty soon in this country. The information is not going to stop. The information about what they've done is not going to stop. It's not going to stop. There are parents now that are mobilized all over the world, really. And there's can't tell you how many movements have sprang up here in the last, even year, battling CPS, battling the family court system, the fraudulent kidnapping of children. It's a dark topic to talk about, for sure. And we we'll as this stuff comes out, which I really believe it's going to, we're going to try to be here at Northwest Liberty News and Montana Daily Gazette to help parse through some of the information and some of the disinformation the best that we can. But when I tell you that what Lynn Wood just said, and I don't know Lynn Wood, I don't have any stock in Lynn Wood's companies or get any benefit from any of his work or anything. I'm just saying what he just said is based upon my own independent research and talking to I mean, I've interviewed hundreds of parents, folks. This is not a, this is a true statement. It's a verified fact. And I have copious amounts of files and data on the crimes that have been committed by these people. So this is sadly, what we're hearing here is truthful. And I hate to say it, but it is. We got one more video here with Lynn Wood that we're going to play. And then we're going to cover a couple of quick topics on Montana Daily Gazette. So let's pop over here again to Lynn Wood and listen to this second video portion here of his interview from, you can see Fireside Chat with Lynn Wood. If you go on Rumble and type in Fireside Chat, you can hear all of them. I think this is the 8th one. Here we go.
I love it.
I know, as it relates to the Insurrection Act, I want to share some things that I have heard. I keep hearing members of the military, or at least people that identify themselves as being members of the military, who reach out to me directly. They send me a text to 918-851-6920. That's 918-851-6920, saying, hey, I'm being deployed. Mm-hmm. And the conversations aren't weird conversations, Lynn. They're not calling me saying, they don't use a false accent. They don't say, I have false connections to real connections to the White House who've told me through a friend of a friend that I have that. They don't do that. They call me and they go, hey, they say, there's a summary of the conversations. They'll call and say, hey, I serve in the yada, yada, yada. Hey, I just got called up. Want you to know good things are happening. Stay encouraged. Thank you. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing calls like that. I'm not hearing these elaborate stories and tales. Now, maybe these people who are calling me and choosing to remain anonymous because they just want to mislead me, mess with me. But that's what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me say this, Clay.
Yeah.
I have some great men that work on my security detail. They have military backgrounds. They're highly trained. They understand the lingo. They have had information from people they know in the military that the military has been told that it is on standby for 1 hour recall. That means get ready to go. So I believe that alone evidences the fact that the president has invoked the Insurrection Act, as I believe the country is ready for him to do.
Yes, agreed.
I would also point out the President of the United States, and I'll go to you, James, next here. He has now, it's been reported that one of the PGA tournaments has said they're no longer going to host events at Trump golf courses. We know that Stripe, the payment processor, and others are saying they don't want to do business with the president anymore. I can go on and on. I mean, listen, guys, they've been attacking the president for 4 consecutive years. And President Trump knows they're going to make up some false crime against him if he doesn't win. Yep. He knows on the CDC website they're calling for concentration camps. If you're listening right now and you've never seen this, just text the word truth to 918-552-5142, 918-552-5142. I'll send you proof. James, you've seen the proof. On the CDC website, the Centers for Disease Control website, they're calling for concentration camps. Yep. President Trump knows what's going on.
Yeah.
He knows about the election fraud. He knows about the medical fraud. He knows that the Chinese are involved. He's seen the contents of the Hunter Biden laptop. He all knows. I mean, it's not like Lynn Wood and Clay Clark have access to the information that the president can't see. As the president, he has access to all this stuff.
Yes.
And so where I'm kind of wondering, and I kind of want to see, Lynn, if you could answer my question, then I'll go to James. People keep asking me, when are we going to see it?
Yep.
When are we going to see it? When
is the action?
It's almost like we're in a car with my 5 kids driving anywhere when they were young.
Are we there yet?
And you hop in the car and you're at the end of the driveway and they say, are we in Iowa yet? No, we just are on the end of the driveway. They go, are we there now? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? I feel like a lot of our listeners are saying, are we there yet? Are we going to see it? Lynn, what are your thoughts on when are we going to see something that the American people can see?
Well, I think you're going to find that a large number of people that are arrested are going to plead guilty. That kind of tells you almost all you need to know about them, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. But are you going to find proof and see it? Yes. Be patient. It's coming. But I hope, having seen some of the things on Hunter Biden's laptop, I hope that they're able to convince the American public without having to expose the American public to some of the perversion and horror that are on these tapes that are used for blackmail, because they were innocent children. Some of them have died. Some of them have gone on to be arrested because they threw them out on the street as drug addicts and prostitutes, and we haven't treated them very well, have we? And they couldn't help it. They got pulled in when they were young. So I hope that we're able to get the information in a convincing fashion before the public, but I hope that we're able to do it without people having to look at some of the perverted things that are on video to convince them that it's true. I think they will release enough, and enough is always enough.
Yeah.
But I do believe that it is going to be soon. We're going to know what John Roberts, our Chief Justice, did. We're going to know what Mike Pence, by the way, this was not his first act of treason, and there's some serious issues about Pence as it relates to pedophilia. And I've seen the evidence, and I've talked to the whistleblowers. So, will we see it all? No. Will we see enough? Yes, but enough is always enough. We'll see enough to know that these people are guilty as hell. Excuse my language.
There's the word, the latest word there from Lynn Wood. And my thoughts on Lynn Wood are, he is been an attorney for many years, 40 years, I think, is what they said. He is the one that beat CNN and the other news organizations with the Nick Sandmann case. I mean, it's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He has made some one would seem, outlandish claims against household names and people that we know. He has made some hellacious claims against these folks. And, I'm not an attorney, don't pretend to be one, but I've heard no lawsuit being brought against him, no charges brought up against him, no cease and desist letter being sent for him to be quiet on what he's saying. I mean, he's called out some very, very high-profile people and called them, just basically destroyed their character if it's not true. And he's liable for, you understand, these cases, he's got to have, I don't know, how much does an attorney make on a $450 million settlement? Lots, 100 million, and that's not the first one. He's done numerous high-profile cases, from what I gather. He has the money available for people to go after if he was lying, if he was making stuff up. Do I know if everything that Lynn's saying is 100% true? Is some of it disinformation? Is some of it used to scare the you-know-what out of the other side and have them make moves and do things and maybe try to hide data, or that prompts them to, go to their cloud drive or wherever they would hold incriminating evidence and try to erase it? Or, again, I'm not a spy. I don't play the spy game. Don't know. It's all speculation. I can tell you this, though. A lot of the stuff, I really don't disagree with anything. I should say, a lot of the stuff, I don't disagree with anything that Lynn Wood is saying, as far as based upon my own research and the stuff that I've been able to find out with the numerous conversations I've had with the people in the CPS family court, and that's a huge, huge conduit for child trafficking and a supplier for these scoundrels. Been reporting on that for quite some time. And, again, don't believe anything I say. Look into all of it yourself. That's what I would suggest that you do. We're going to go ahead and hit a couple more. We're going to go ahead and take a look over here at Montana Daily Gazette. And we have a video here from, let's take a look at this video real quick. I interviewed the young lady that put this together, Amy Proctor. She's a photojournalist, and she was at the Capitol. We had her here on the show. I don't know. Was it this week, maybe? What's today? Thursday? I think we maybe had her on Wednesday or Monday. I don't remember. I'll have to check. at any rate, we had her on the show here talking about her firsthand account, and we got an exclusive video from her on Montana Daily Gazette, and you can go to montanadailygazette.com. It's montanadailygazette.com. And, before we do that, I want to say, if you want to support independent journalism, advertise with Montana Daily Gazette. Now we're the #1 online news publication in Montana. And if you want to, they're canceling conservatives everywhere. So if you're interested in advertising with Montana Daily Gazette, you can just send me an email, nwlnews@protonmail.com. All the information is on the bottom of the videos. That's nwlnews@protonmail.com. Contact me, and you can actually get commercials on this radio program and actually appear as a guest, depending upon what advertising package that you are interested in. But support Montana Daily Gazette. We're a conservative news organization that tries to do our best to put out truth, and put your money behind people that you trust and you believe in. If you pay $7 or $8 a month or $10 a month for cable to get fed lies, certainly you can put some of that, redirect some of those funds into someone telling the truth. So again, if you're interested in advertising with Montana Daily Gazette, they have a wide variety of opportunities in ad placement. You can get banner on the front page, that type of thing. Again, just reach out to me, nwlnews@protonmail.com, and we can discuss those options. Okay. So this is an exclusive video that was sent to us that shows that the Trump supporters are trying to stop the rally. We're going to pop this video open here and close the show out with it, and we'll be back after here. I'm not going anywhere.
Trump is a lone army by himself. He's surrounded by trash. Our government is trash. They love our president. It's that simple. I don't need to put army or cult or all this horse shit in there. We're American people that love our president. It's simple. And we're sick of it. We're going to lose our freedom to these people. Sick and tired of
That's what he
Sorry. Okay. I was looking the
my hat? I'm waving on my white hat, my gray hat.
They actually stormed the Capitol building up there. unbelievable.
We are supposed to be better than the people we are protecting against.
And that video, you can find the video and the article that accompanies that video up on MontanaDailyGazette.com. That's MontanaDailyGazette.com. And again, you can find all the latest news and information, not just from Montana, but we do cover news outside Montana. Certainly is a Montana-based publication, but we do, as I said, cover other things. So check it out over at MontanaDailyGazette.com. We do appreciate you looking in here. If you want to support this broadcast, you can go to northwestlibertynews.com and click on the Support Independent News button there. You go to Patreon and become a Patreon, or go to GoFundMe and type in Support Truth and News. We do appreciate your support. We are funded by you, the listener, and we are going to do our best to continue to keep putting news out as long as we can. And we do appreciate your support. Or go to patriotprepared.com and purchase anything there at that website, and that helps support us directly. That's all we have for now. Appreciate you looking in. I'm going to look into the Facebook issue and see why in the world I can't broadcast on Facebook anymore. I don't know, as I said, if that is a permanent thing or a temporary thing. So I'm going to reboot everything, launch things back up again, and do a test, and see if I can do a test on Facebook and look for any messages they may have sent me that canceled my live broadcasting capabilities. At any rate, appreciate you looking in. This is all the time we have for now. Be positive, be strong, keep an eye on the prize. Don't be distracted by a lot of the noise. Right? You know what's right and wrong. You don't need anybody to tell you. You pretty much know. Truth has a way of rising to the top. It sometimes has a long road to get there, and there's a lot of obstacles, but I think we're seeing that happen now. Appreciate you looking in here again on the show. I don't know if we're going to be back for a critical disclosure broadcast. I would think we're supposed to do one today. I'm not sure with my co-hosts. I'll have to connect with them and see. But again, we appreciate you looking in here today on the broadcast. I'm your host, James White. And please support independent news, wherever it is. Thanks again. Till next time, this is James White for Montana Gazette Radio and Northwest Liberty News saying bye now.